My name is Janie Kavanagh. I am the founder of the Rogue Gallery and Studios. I'm originally from Mayo and I came down to Waterford to study art. They're about nearly 10 years ago, I'd say, at this stage. So I did my portfolio course in CTI, and then I went back to WIT to do my 4-year degree. And then afterwards, I was blessed enough to have come into the Rogue Gallery and Studio and start on a new creative adventure, both for myself artistically and for the community. Afterwards, I decided that I wanted to further my artistic endeavours by going to do a Principles in Art Therapy course down in Crawford, which was a whole load of fun as it engaged me for loosening out my creative mediums. As before that, I would have only dealt in photography and lithography printing, and which is really unusual because I would have started off very much with a lot of my artistic stuff as black and white or grey-scaled. So for me, painting was a new adventure, a new creative stride, and a challenge to break through other artistic mediums. When I went to Crawford, that was one of the ones that really broke down my core structure of creativity and allowed me to rethink in a different way, which ultimately brought a lot of colour into my creative life. Which was it was quite interesting because at the beginning it was quite nerve-wracking because I had never been taught the technical skills for how to paint. We had done a little bit in first year and second year in WIT, but to be able to commit a year or a year and a half to learning how to, use a paintbrush and, create your own kind of brushwork was really something inspiring and something that you can't do with just a graphite or charcoal piece. So, yeah, I was quite interested in different mediums in that sense, and it was because of a 2-year journey that I was able to create my solo show I Wander for Imagine Festival last year. In relation to my work, I base a lot of my work on the idea of this psychonauts journey. Now, for most people, they don't understand what that is. In Hindu terms, it is a meditative state of looking inwards and seeing your inner self and exploring that idiom. As a lot of the time, us as a society, we are always looking outwards, looking to the stars, to the astronauts, and the idea of going further and further. And for my work, I thought it would be a really interesting story to create a body of work through Freudian and Jungian theory about the inner mechanics of the mind, using my story as a basis for this plateau. So behind me is one of my more favourite works, and this is The Journey into the Abyss. And it's sectioned over 3 canvases. And the idea of this is that it represents this creative spiritual number 3, which is the beginning, the middle, and the end, or how my old lecturer, Pat Cunningham, would have always said, construct, reconstruct, deconstruct. And this is a really interesting process as we all go through different journeys of lives on beginning, mediums, and ends. And in this, I decided to explore the idea of a world through a Moroccan adventure, which was what this painting was based off when I went and journeyed through Morocco to see different experiences of life and culture, how humbleness competed against, we'll say, the monopoly of money, and how simplicity of life was a way forward rather than being held back. And it was a truly beautiful journey, which brought me on to create one of my final pieces for the I Wander collection, the Babbling Tower. What I wanted to really point out in this painting was the idea of how we as society have come very much in a forerunning of looking inwards instead of outwards, which was what some of the main storyline of I Wander was about. The I Wander collection is a story of Jungian, Freudian, and interwoven with Greek and mythologies from all around the world. I was really thankful to be a part of the Imagine Arts Festival Waterford. Because of them last year, I was able to exhibit my first solo exhibition to a much bigger audience than I could have ever anticipated. And it allowed me to sell nearly half of my collection. The remnants of the collection is left here in my studio, which I am using to inspire the next collection of the I Wander journey.